Hi, I'm Rachel. I've always been someone who treasures small gestures, the way someone remembers your favorite coffee, the way a hand finds yours when you're sad, the way a simple I love you lands like a hug on your heart. I thought love was made of these little moments. I found the letter by accident, hidden inside an old shoebox, the one my father never let me touch. It was addressed to my mother, but the date was written after she died. That's when I knew this letter wasn't meant for me. At first, I thought it was just another love note, like the ones he used to leave her on birthdays. But this one was different. The words bled with regret, and one name I had never heard before. Evelyn. He wrote, "If she ever finds out the truth, I'll lose both of them." And in that moment, I stopped being his daughter. I became his secret. They say curiosity destroys peace. I used to believe secrets were just words left unsaid, until I found the letter that was never meant for me. It was tucked inside an old shoebox, the same box my father kept locked for years. He told me once, "Some things are too heavy for the truth." I didn't understand what he meant, not until that night. That day started like any other, me cleaning out the attic after he passed. The house still smelled like his cologne and old books, a mix of comfort and grief that felt too familiar. I wasn't looking for anything, really, just trying to hold on to the pieces of him that grief hadn't already stolen. And then I found it. A letter, folded carefully, faded at the edges, addressed to my mother, but written after she died. At first, I thought it was just another one of his love notes. He used to write her those when they were young, letters filled with dreams about the future, about me, about everything they never got to live. But this one wasn't about love. It was about regret. He wrote about a woman, not my mother, someone named Evelyn, a name I had never heard in my entire life. He said, "If she ever finds out the truth, I'll lose both of them." And that one line, that single sentence, made the ground under me disappear. I sat there for hours, reading, rereading every word. The ink had bled from tears long dried, maybe his, maybe hers. It spoke of a child that might not have been mine. My hands shook so hard I almost dropped it. It felt like my entire childhood, every bedtime story, every hug, every "I'm proud of you," had been rewritten in seconds. For days, I couldn't look at his photo. I couldn't sleep, couldn't breathe without hearing that name, Evelyn. Was she still alive? Did I have a half-sibling somewhere? Or was the letter just a ghost of his guilt? That's the thing about secrets. They don't die with the people who kept them. They just find new hearts to haunt. And mine was already breaking. The next morning, I did something I never thought I would. I went looking for Evelyn. I didn't sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw my father's handwriting, those crooked letters, the ink fading like a memory trying to disappear. But truth doesn't disappear. It waits. And it waited for me in a small town 2 hours away, where the name Evelyn was more than just a secret. I found her address in an old envelope. No return name, just initials. It took me days to gather the courage. I told myself I was ready, but the moment she opened the door, I realized I wasn't. She looked at me like she had seen a ghost, and maybe she had. Her eyes, brown, deep, and hauntingly familiar, were the same as mine. She didn't need to ask who I was. She already knew. "You found the letter, didn't you?" I nodded. She smiled faintly, the kind of smile that hides decades of pain. Evelyn said, "I told him not to keep it. But your father, he couldn't bear to hurt you." I wanted to scream, to ask her why she didn't go away sooner, why she let him lie to us, to me. But instead, I just stood there, frozen. Because in that moment, she didn't look like the woman who ruined my family. She looked like someone who lost the same man in a different way. Evelyn said, "He loved your mother more than you'll ever know. But before her, there was me." Her voice cracked. I could hear guilt, not pride. She wasn't confessing to sin. She was confessing to sorrow. She told me everything. How they were young, reckless, in love, and how one choice changed everything. My father met my mother after Evelyn left, but Evelyn never really left his heart, and neither did I. Because the truth was cruel. I wasn't just his daughter. I was their daughter. The world blurred. My knees went weak. She tried to hold me, but I stepped back. For the first time in my life, I didn't know who I was. Every photo of my childhood, every smile, every memory, suddenly felt borrowed. Like I was living in someone else's story. I wanted to hate him, but all I could do was miss him more. Because he wasn't a liar. He was a man who made a mistake and spent his life trying to protect me from it. That night, I went back home. I sat on the floor with the letter in my hand, the same letter that shattered me. And for the first time, I read it differently. Not as a daughter betrayed, but as a daughter loved. Imperfectly, silently, endlessly. Maybe some truths aren't meant to destroy us. Maybe they just teach us that love isn't always honest, but it's still love. I folded the letter one last time and placed it back in the box. Not to hide it, but to let it rest. Because some stories don't need to be rewritten. They just need to be forgiven. When I met Evelyn, I saw a reflection of your past, and somehow a reflection of myself. She told me how much you loved us both, and maybe that's what forgiveness is, seeing the whole story, not just the parts that hurt. I still miss you every day, but I've stopped wishing for a different past. because even in your flaws, you taught me something I'll never forget. That love isn't perfect. It's just real. I'm leaving the letter here, in the same box where yours lived all those years. Maybe one day someone will find it too. And maybe they'll understand that silence isn't always emptiness. Sometimes it's grace. I placed my letter next to his, not to erase what he wrote, but to complete it. Because the story of who we are isn't just about what we inherit. It's about what we choose to forgive. And I finally did. I found the letter by accident, hidden inside an old shoebox, the one my father never let me touch. It was addressed to my mother, but the date was written after she died. That's when I knew this letter wasn't meant for me. At first, I thought it was just another love note, like the ones he used to leave her on birthdays. But this one was different. The words bled with regret, and one name I had never heard before. Evelyn. He wrote, "If she ever finds out the truth, I'll lose both of them." And in that moment, I stopped being his daughter. I became his secret. For days, I couldn't breathe. Every childhood memory, every bedtime story, every "I love you" felt like a lie wrapped in comfort. But truth doesn't stay buried. It whispers. And one day, I followed that whisper straight to her door. She opened the door and froze. Her eyes, brown, familiar, the same as mine. She didn't ask who I was. She already knew. She said, "You found the letter, didn't you?" And I did. I found the truth he tried to protect me from. He loved my mother, but before her, there was Evelyn. And me, I was the bridge between both. The proof of a love that never truly ended and never should have begun. I wanted to hate him, but instead, I missed him even more. Because he wasn't cruel. He was human. Weeks later, I wrote my own letter and placed it beside his. "Dad," I wrote, "I don't hate you. You lied because you loved us. And I think that counts for something. Love isn't perfect. It's just real." I closed the box and whispered, "Rest now." Because some stories don't need to be rewritten. They just need to be forgiven.